my sweet, sleepy, slothy friends, living life with FND. Just so you know, you're not alone. If you're battling chronic pain or seizing the day with those pesky little insomniac gremlins again, let me remind you, my sweet, sleepy crew, Sarah totally understands you. We're seizing the day, literally, and totally unable to sleep. So take a deep breath, in and out. Sarah's here for you to help you drift off into something soft and sweet. Breathe in and out. Let's sip some sleepy warm tea, modest teas, just for you and me. She guarantees her favorite tea brand, named Go to FN. A sleep will knock you out. Take a breath in and out. Turn off the lights, get deeply cozy, and pretend to yawn. Stretch out any aches and pains. Take a breath in and out. Now yawn. Watch some art, drive for a bit. Take a breath in and out. Now yawn.
Good evening. I, for some reason, cannot get my other, intros and outros loaded back on. And I never remember to bug Streamlabs about that. So, anywho, we'll just stick with that one. We made it. It's Friday. It's almost time to get out. It's only almost 4 o'clock. So hopefully that helps to get you zoned out. Man, I look like a hot mess. Oh, I am tired. Yesterday it was just like nap, take as many naps as I could, and then my nap turned into sleeping overnight. So, and then this morning I woke up about 5 o'clock. And then I was like, you know what? It's the first of the month. I'm gonna go. They have this with the commerce in my town and Rise and Shine. And so I went to that, and that was good, really good for my soul, basically. So if I do me a favor, if I ever get upset live on the interwebs about, struggling, just email me, remind me to just go to whatever function, um, help me with the funds to take Uber or Lyft, um, and because that's just something that I need to do. Like, I need to do that. I I need to get out. I need the people. Um, and just it was just good because it told my brain, like life is gonna be hard, but I'm one of those that needs the social interaction and I can do anything. Um, and then obviously algorithms started posting other YouTube and Facebook reels, uh, of people crying that are struggling with epilepsy or seizures, and this poor lady chick, young young gal, she was like, I can't drive, blah blah blah, and so yeah, thanks to the algorithms, and I'm planted all over the internet that I cry, and um, I know I don't, and I would say this to myself, I don't need to apologize for getting upset. It's part of my reality is, you know, the struggles of having a disability and then the struggles of society, um, you know, and yeah, not everybody can, fathom what I've gone through because, you know, and yeah, I kind of played a little bit of victim in that whole Wednesday. Um, and I honestly need, the constant reminder that, I don't know what I'm trying to say on that. But I, ne- I need to take the time to find agency. Um, I need to, I'm not trying to shove it in your faces, the struggle, blah, blah. I think I need, I'm just, I'm needing the help to, I can do, these things. And part of it is like when you're stuck at home and you're not able to do the things that you used to do, and you drown in your own, and you get kind of stuck in this vicious cycle of, and then your brain just, kind of warps on that thought process. And um, so it was really good to get out today and um, seeing people that, I haven't seen in a long while. I made sure, to just hug people, and go that extra mile to hug people and share a little bit of my struggles and stuff in my community. And um, it just really helped, because I've struggled with this trap feeling. I've struggled with, feeling like I don't exist anymore because everybody's busy. Life is hard. And so, and then the nice thing is, another entrepreneur out there, another business owner, she's like, what are you doing now? Do you need a ride? And so that was just a huge pick me up. And then that also helped my brain because we talked about business and how what picked our each other's brains, and they had events, and I was like, I got out of the car, uh, and they were like, I was like, if there's anything like small nitty gritty, in your business that you can think of, I think I can do it. And then that proceeded on, can you answer phone calls? Because we're going to be, pretty darn busy with, Mother's Day. And I was like, yeah, sure, I can do it, put me to work, and then that helped me to like that there's an upcoming project that they need help with, and then so I'm like in the process of thinking on what to do with that, and how I can help, you know, with that. Um and then that just expands my mind, so I need to find that video. Um I told them, please contact me. Please contact me if you're struggling and you just need like outside of the brain thought process of how to get unstuck. Um, we can work together, you know? And so it's just, it just felt so good, to, and then, this business owner learned something new, that they probably knew, but then they forgot about, And I need to remind myself that, people are busy, and, you know, it's sometimes easy to forget, And yeah, I'm the weird one that, you know, I think it comes from, my job, my career. uh, I had to remember, 10 million things about a person's life. And, so that doesn't help me, like these, like, there's some people that, oh, they used to be a side sleeper, very odd things. Um, at least I could remember, but I need to tell myself that I don't remember because of FND now. Because kind of and being on so many different medications, um, I can't even remember what time it is now. So, but back in the day, I used to keep notes and tabs on, on different things. So, anywho, so that was just, and if you are watching, it worked today. I was able to stream, I think, on both platforms that I usually, so I'm hoping that is fixed. Um, I didn't fix anything, so, or mention that to Streamlabs. So, anywho, as you can see, and then that was the other thing that I did today. I just brought about 3 art pieces that I'm working on um, with me and kind of give people an idea of what I do um, and stuff like that. So got a couple pictures, um, with my artwork and stuff like that, and just being able to smile. Smiling just is like the remedy of um, any struggles that you go through. Um, so if you are struggling mentally, like I said back on Wednesday, I think, look in the mirror and just smile at yourself and say something, positive, because that kind of reinforces it in your brain, you know, um, that you can, you will feel better. Um, there's another challenge for you guys. I'm full of challenges right now. You know how amputees, they have phantom pain? Um, it kind of does the same thing. Um, you don't have to, align your hands together and um, but seeing yourself in the mirror, um, especially if you're dealing with chronic pains, you know, I don't, it does something with your brain cells, definitely. And seeing yourself smile, and I think it takes away the illusion of because when your brain does not know any difference when it sees itself um, in the mirror, that person that you're looking at, is not in pain. And then, where am I going with this? Oh my goodness, brain fart. So, when you don't look at yourself and you're in this constant masking, you know, you're also kind of trigger hunting. Oh, I've got pain, I've got pain, I've got pain, I've got pain. And it just keeps you in that loop. So it's kind of like, mirroring for phantom pain issues. Not that I'm saying that you are having phantom pain, the phantom part, but it does work. And it'd be a good challenge for anybody that is dealing with chronic pain. Um, and if there's anybody that is dealing with like Parkinson's or tics or triggers, tremors, it might help with that too. Um, so spend about, 5 minutes and then increase from there and 20-minute sessions or whatever. So give it a whirl. Hopefully that helps. Um, Obviously, you can see I'm working on this art piece, kind of a 3D. I am looking for somebody to make shadow boxes. Um, so, because I want to, and I don't need very many of them. I need at least 8, 9 of them, give or take, per year. So it's not many. Is because I do a lot of this 3D texture type stuff. So I gotta finish the up there, and this is a candy store, by the way. Um, Obviously, I have the name covered up for obvious reasons, because um, for my privacy. Anywho, that's what I'm working on, and then I might work on them some more, get that done, or no. I can't decide. Too many decisions. Or I might work on squid. Um, I don't know. Help me decide. Whoever is lurking, help me decide. I don't know. Anyways, enjoy. Um, um, if you want to send $1 or more, feel free to cash out me. Uh, and if you can't afford it, no worries. Um, you know what? It's free. If you go down below, hit subscribe, toggle that notification, um, like, love, um, give me some love somewhere, share this. Because YouTube AI is doing some ass hattery, annoying stuff these days, and making it difficult for even the small creators. Um, which is kind of annoying, for big and small. Um, I thought I would be like making strides by now. Yeah, I'm okay with, but AI has been making this, very annoying. Um, and it shouldn't be annoying. Um, so, anyhow, I am tired, 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 tired. I overdid it Wednesday. Yeah. Um, and that's part of who I am, and I I should never be sorry for, crying and showing um, what it is like having FND or non-epileptic seizures or, you know, chronic health issues because it's part of my journey. Um, it is what it is. It's not me, look, or having a pity party or um, life is hard. Uh, and it's it's honestly how I can how I manage it and cope with it. And Wednesday, somebody can actually be like, "Hey, remember that time that you overdid it? Go back and look at that, and then take your time." It's you know. Anyways, so I've slept a lot the past couple days um, after that. And you know, I needed to see where I'm at. Um, so it's all on me. Um, it's all on me. Um, but I needed to know and push, to beyond my limit to factor in how far I've come, what I need to work on now, and you know, yeah, it might bite me in the future, but that's all right. You know, it's hard being a YouTuber. It is really difficult. And so, and if it bites me, it bites me. I don't care. Um, Anywho, I saw a lurker in here. Come back! Come back! That's the crazy thing is I'll see like one, maybe no more than three, no more than three lurkers because I'll have like this eyeball thing, and then I don't think I've ever seen five, but then I'll look after we're done here, and then I'll have like 15 viewers, which is actually, it seems like it's like the norm now for some reason. So, yeah, so I'm okay. I was a little concerned when my numbers dropped down to like 8, 7, somewhere around there, um, which is kind of abnormal. Um, So I need to. Oh, and then the other thing this morning, which was kind of cool, is I've been wanting uh, to, you know, you know, um, go and talk to this organization here locally, and they they focus more on Parkinson's, and they have support and um, it's a exercise program, and they've got a therapy dog that helps coach um, at this facility. I've been wanting to meet this little dog therapy coach dog. She's super cute. Um, that's all I want to do is just take her for a walk. That's my therapy. But classes are like haven't been at the right time, and transportation has been an issue. Um, I don't want to. Um, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it, and then two, I don't think I'm ready for the exercise part of it, but I know it's a good place to like go to. Um, and so I'm like, oh, you're the only lonely soul this morning. I haven't met the owner, co-owner in person quite yet. We've been just, interacting, um, you know, via Facebook and stuff, and slowly, getting me, transitioned. Um, and I think this, um, me being me, people person, um, I was like, I'm just gonna sit with this lonely soul. And sure enough, it was the right person. Um, and just kind of broke my little mold a little bit, so I was like, yeah, I was, I need to come in and, do whatever I need to do. And that might also turn into, little side hustle or whatever, whether it's, answering the phones and I don't know, more, might come out of it. So I have those strengths. I really do. And I'm very proud of myself. Like they always say, it's hard for an entrepreneur mindset to go into just a generic job, and that is honestly true. It is. It is. Um, I'm pretty much the Jane of all trades, I think. And this morning also made me just how far I've come. Like, I've lived here in my town going on 12 years. Uh, yeah, 10, 12 years, somewhere around there. And in the dead of winter, like it was sub-degree weather when I decided to start my business, my practice, my clinic. And I didn't know anybody. I was starting over, needed to be, somewhat local, or close enough that, I could take care of family members, because they had, some health issues, or I questioned some health issues. And so I, you know, could take off, for the day, or, and then be able to come back, to work and whatever. And so I would get in my car, go drive to this business, and then get in and out, in and out. Um, I, I, I don't know how many businesses I've been to, collecting business cards, saying my spiel, medical massage therapist, specialize in orthopedic, um, remobilizing, issues, blah, 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 and collecting their business cards. And then, and that was until somebody introduced me to, um, instead of speed dating, it was business oriented, uh, realtor, kind of organized this. And then that I kind of knew about, like, business to business, networking, which was like an hour or almost 2 hour, deal. And so I did that, and then, um, I've done that kind of, sort of, with other organizations. The problem is, when I was living in a way bigger, too big of a town, um, that just didn't work out because nobody knew anybody. And versus my town is big enough that it's small, it's a tiny town, but it's big enough because we're a college town. So it's kind of seasonal, um, but everybody knows you, but is not really in your business, uh, personally. And like, and over the past 10 years, my my town has grown like crazy. Um, and it's in between two major big, towns. Kind of, Indiana, crossroads of, America. Um, so you you get this whole whole thing of, you know, different aspects. I don't know how to, I don't know where my brain went. Oh, there we go. Derail. I think I see a lurker here. And welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad it's Friday. Um, I hope you are having a good weekend. And you disappeared. I don't know anymore. Let me do this. Do something here. Do. Gosh. Anywho. Anywho. Let me see if she is still on. Nope, she's off. And that is annoying. YouTube, you're driving me crazy. You are driving me crazy, YouTube. For reals. For reals, for reals, for reals. It's not YouTube, it's internet, if it's not the Wi-Fi, if it's not Streamlabs, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like life just does not want me to be exist in the, you know, entrepreneur world anymore. Sometimes that's how it makes me feel. Some, you know, but part of it is, you know, me, you know, whether I'm procrastinating or, you know, I'm not ready with FND or FND is distracting me, derailing me, or transportation, lack of funds, or I just want to have a roof over my head, food in my belly, and be able to do what I need to do, what, you know, God has created me to do. Um, you know, and I feel like that is medical massage therapy, but then also being an advocate, you know, for whoever needs to hear or needs my help. So, um, anyways, I'm just ranting and raving. I just need a new direction, and I think that was just the spice this morning. It was the spice this morning that I needed, but you know, to kind of get an idea of where I'm at with this whole, you know, hiatus. Um, I need to like start talking about real estate and start looking for some type of, you know, hustle with that and kind of getting an idea of if I can handle it, if I can figure out the transportation, um, which I feel like is that people will tend to state that, oh, you don't have a car, you need a car to be a realtor, but you need to be able to drive. And um, I don't, I think what's driving me now is like, I think I want to, one, bring awareness to FND, or that disability should not be a, second thought. Um, because there were times where I had to go to appointments, but insurance requires 3 days notice, and they thought it was okay to drop, my appointment, and then I would have to, and the, what's called, the paratransit, um, bus, public bus or metro bus, requires 2 days notice, and you can only schedule Monday through Friday from, let's say, 7 in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, or 8 to 4. But if you have to, you know, most of the disability community are old school and are not high tech, so you have to call, and it's just, and I'm kind of in between because I'm not a senior citizen, so I usually do online because there, but going back to transportation, and then so that option is out. I couldn't really afford Uber and Lyft, so I would take the big metro bus and then have to take like 3 buses to get to the destination, and it would be like an hour out of my, you know, to get there, and then an hour to come back home. So that's like 2 hours of my day. Um, and then that's where, people think, you know, public transportation is not reliable. And then that proceeds into, oh, she's not going to be accountable for, this job. And then I end up not getting the job because, I rely on public transportation. And it's just, I just would like for people that have disabilities to have the same opportunities of people, able-bodied people, and then so taking 1 to 3, up to 3 buses to the destination, and then you have to account the mental aspect of, okay, how many buses, how far do I have to walk from X to Z, or A to Z. It's it was very mentally exhausting. Like there were days where I had an appointment and I had to take the Metro bus, and it I literally like Wednesday yesterday, um, where I just I slept pretty much all day yesterday, I think. Um, I took a nap and then my nap I woke up um at about 8 o'clock, and then I was like I I felt drunk because my body hurt so bad. I could barely keep my eyes open, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna try to take another nap, and then I looked at the clock this morning, and it was 5 o'clock, and I was like, okay, do I have enough energy to go? You know, because it's the new month. It's already May. Can you believe it? It's already May. And so I went to this event, um, and I needed another nap. Um, I was listening to Mo. You don't if you have chronic health issues, you understand this, but uh, I think every single one of you YouTubers out there, I am a fan, loyal fan. Um, you guys don't know how much you help people out there. You know, I fell asleep with Mo, talking about this crazy case, and I'm glad that I'm missing most of it anyways. And then woke up mad because Baker, Broken Baker, was on. Anyway, so yeah, it's just you guys are helping a lot of people out there that are suffering from chronic health issues and um, survive and entertain us. Um, I just find it funny that I fall asleep with you guys and literally, and then wake up mad to poor Broken Baker. Um, so it's great because I've, you know, developed a community and with you guys out there that are watching, and so it means a lot to me. And um, so, anywho, so if you are, I've been dealing with the epilepsy world since 1999. Well, 1995 is when all this psychiatric stuff was starting, learning disabilities, getting, you know, like segregated in schools. Um, because if you, God forbid, if you learn slower You just, I think it was just I had deficiency issues, vitamin deficiency issues, and honestly, needed more sleep. Um, as a kid, and I would lose track and I couldn't focus because, this vitamin deficiency issue. And so I just lose track and, with studying and stuff. And then, and I had the eye tracking issue. Um, so that turned into, lazy eye or astigmatism. And so and then my eardrum didn't close properly. So I just needed more time for stuff. And I think that's where I like being an entrepreneur because I can have that extra time to versus working for somebody like, big retail or whatever, where you had to, crack numbers, meet quota out of, crazy time. And so, so I've been in the epilepsy world since 1999, and I know that you guys out there struggle with driving and transportation and um, relying on people, and people often forget, where you need to be and that you can't drive. And um, so it, I wanted to get to the point with the real estate where I can hire somebody to drive me around. Um, if the person is not taking the time in your life to take you wherever, and that person, one, should not be in your life or taking the time, hey, what do you need? Do you need help? Um, just find your people. They'll be there for you. Um, so I really needed that today. So that no second, thought process. Um, like, don't spend your money. It's unnecessary. I'm gonna take you wherever you need to be. Um, and that just cracked the door open just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, which was what I needed today. So I needed that. I needed that. So I'm hoping, you know, um, that business opportunity turns into friendships and, so, um, and I will say this again, it's hard in life. Life can be a bitch sometimes. Um, and having a disability, is another level of asshattery. But having a disability and this issue with FND and all that, is another level. And I'm not gonna let FND control my life. I'm today I needed to, use today to find my agency. See, I took Wednesday, you know, I was tired, and just like, on this sliding path of, and then I slept it off, did my self-care, and then now, today I found some, agency, and then now that will, you know, you take little bits and pieces, you know, of whatever you need from that today, and then that follows through into your future. So backing, tracking to when I was talking about this chickadee that was kind of doing the same thing. I think AI and algorithms found this video just specifically for me to watch. And so I'm hoping that it did sound a very smidge like an AI video, a smidge. And that's where I'm like, this AI stuff is a little bit ridiculous. Like, I don't even trust anything anymore because we're all doing it. We're all using AI and to form our own, doing our own thing. Um, I can't sing worth a darn, but I'm utilizing that to my advantage. But I am creating my own lyrics, like, and so I know AI is going to be stupid, more stupid. Um, later down the line. It's just, um, but it is what I needed to help with this whole process of transportation issues. Made me realize that I can have a car. I'll have to hire somebody to drive my own vehicle. Um, and then, then I can, do the real estate. Yeah, I might have to, have a little help in that, or, so that way I don't have to rely on, X, Y, and Z, you know, um, insurance, transportation is probably going to be cut due to the big beautiful bill, which is insane. Um, Insurance, because FND is very chronic. It varies day to day. With a can of soup of different symptoms. Um, and then that's where I'm trying to find out in my community about transportation, or finding out if anybody else is having transportation issues. Um, and I need to, and then, so and so knows so and so, and because I just want the transportation stuff to be fixed. I want the DEIA to be reinstated. Um, that should not have been, cut. I feel like we do still, as a, you know, ADA community, I think we need to, it's been, was it 1990 when, we crawled up those stairs and, demanded, for rights. I think we need to do that again, um, here in the near future. Um, I want to make my community, this is a good town. This is a good town if you have a disability, you know. Um, and I, I think we're making strides. Um, I think it could be a lot quicker, because with my feedback, um, you know, so, and I've said this time and time again, I think, where I've noticed that, there's been a decline. Like, I, I'm not really seeing people with disabilities are working anymore. And Um, and for me, that's just the multitude of years of trying to find a job, and I know I can do it. And then the girl in this video, bless her heart, she was gonna do something on a stage and they wouldn't allow her to get on the stage because of her epilepsy, because it was a danger hazard. And this girl's been on, ladders. I've been on ladders. I take full responsibility. I know OSHA or, you know, would just be like, oh my gosh, no, get off the ladder. Um, but it's those little things, she's physically able to be on a stage like everybody else. She's not, it's insane what people, she's not gonna break. She's, we're not gonna break. And most of the time, brings me back to a retail store, a couple jobs that I've had where they kind of let me go because, you know, I had a I didn't discuss my disability with them, which is none of their business. And then the other disgusting part of having a disability, after going through losing your job and losing your job and losing your job or not getting a job for many, 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 many moons, you know, I feel obligated to discuss that, hey, I have a disability, but I resume all, you- I'll sign whatever, if I fell on the job or whatever. Um, so, so yeah, it's annoying, for people that have epilepsy and 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 I think that's where I get driven to do my own thing in hopes that, I become a huge entity that I can hire people with epilepsy because I know, the struggles of finding a job. And maybe it's because I can see their potential without, having to disclose that, or you can work 2, 3 jobs with, you know, and yeah, you might have to, take time off or, about communication too, you know, okay, I'm having issues with this and that and the other. Like, it's just like parents that go on maternity leave, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that idea. Anyways, um, So I would love, to talk to this person, or if it's an AI reel that I needed to see at the moment because I was crazy. Thank you, AI, for thinking about me. I don't know with this AI stuff anymore. And I'm sure it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And that's where I'm like leaning into this AI is just going to brainwash, rot our brains, um, and it's Squid was having, a spiel on talking about AI as well earlier today. So go check out her video. Um, it's about authority and stuff like that. So we got on the rant there. So go check her out. Um, Tonight is the expert. FNL. Um, and then tomorrow, MG Law is going to be streaming, I hope. Um, so, anywho, welcome, welcome. Hey, Anna, how are you this evening? I guess it is almost evening. Almost for you. You're like on the West Coast. So, I am tired. I am tired, tired, tired. And my eyes, when I'm tired, my eye just this like twitchy thing anymore now. Yeah, my face is all droopy today. Yeah, droopy eyes, droopy face. See, here's another fun little tidbit. When and that's the other thing that I don't like about working for somebody else and being micromanaged. Like, I've had employers tell me, just when I come into the office, oh, you need to brush your hair, yeah, thanks. That's not your space to tell me that. First, I'm off the clock. And two, I have the time already scheduled to freshen myself up before I start. That's why I'm in the office early. And two, had, you know, an employer told me that I have dark circles under my eyes. My dad, dark circles, droopy eye, you know, issues. Plus, I don't like putting makeup here because it's just gonna age you even more. Um, it's gonna worsen your droopy eye, dark circles. So you get what you get, and two, being a massage for 3 or 4 or 5, I'm a massage therapist. I've tried having my hair tightly, um, in the back of my head, in a ponytail, um, and I make every effort to one look professional, especially if it's like, a reeval or, where I'm like sitting and chit chatting or, you know, initial consultation. Um, so I make every effort, to look pretty and presentable, you know. Um, but I also want to be comfortable, because if I'm comfortable, you are comfortable, during your session. Because you have that one-on-one interaction, and I've had therapy where, you know, they're they're in a bun and, their hair is tight and you can see their, tight bun is stretching, tightening their face and trying to prevent, becoming old and sagging and yeah. And when you sense that, during a massage, then you cannot relax. I prefer my therapist to be relaxed, but not to the point where, they're falling asleep. Yes, I've had therapists that I've worked with, falling asleep, answering the phone, um, you know, it's ridiculous. Um, and just being, overly unprofessional. Um, but I want my therapist. I want my therapist to enjoy what they're doing, and enjoy their career. And not only that, it's they're also taking care of themselves in a way as well and doing kind of the self-care um, when you are in a relaxed state. So, um, and so yeah, Twitchy Sarah here today. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like my other eye is like, you're done. You're done. Um, so I'm anxious to start a new project next week. Hello, lurker. Welcome. It's Friday. Woo! I think it's the peace sign. Fireworks. Is it not gonna do it? Not gonna do it. Oh, there's balloons. Yay! We'll do the balloons. Fireworks. Oh, there's confetti. I never know which one these are. I think it's the thumbs up, maybe. Come on. There we go. It's Friday. So, good morning. Sorry, if you're religious, uh, and you take offense to me, using the name in vain, I am sorry. I am trying, but I'm trying to leave it to FND, but sometimes I can't handle it. And I can't change myself. It just comes out, and I'm not trying to excuse my, French on and all that, but is it's my brain. I don't care. Uh, it's just words. I'm sorry if it's offensive to you. I I will try my best, but it just poops out. So, anywho, well, I've got candy store to work on. Squid. I don't know what to do tonight. I have a little bit. Finally got the kind of the border up there. Got the other chairs. I am trying to figure out these two chairs right here. If I want to make them 3D, but I've held on to this painting for, several months. It's time for it to go to its new home. I might do the chairs with the putty. I don't know. I have no idea what I want to do. So I need to do that. I need to get these uh, paintings to their rightful owner. Work on. Hello. Okay. My thing is beeping. Hello. 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 I don't know which one's working. Da-da-da-da. Ugh. Anywho. Anywho. Can you hear me? Plus, those make my ears all hot and silly. Silly. But I don't know. I'll have to look at the video later. I used those on Wednesday, and I'll maybe watch and see the difference between wearing those with the sump pump. If it's making it less noisy for you guys, I don't know. I kind of like wearing them because then I still can hear it, doing its thing. Hang on. I don't know. I thought I heard somebody downstairs. Anyways, it's probably upstairs. I don't know. Ugh, itchy ears now. Anywho, I don't know. Maybe I'll take an hour break and then come back and at a later time, or maybe come back tomorrow. I am so tired. Like Wednesday, and then this morning. You would think that sleeping, literally, let's see here. What time did I fall asleep? I don't know. I think I fell asleep about squid. No. I don't know when I fell asleep yesterday.
Um, it runs all together. um, and then Wednesday, it took me some time to fall asleep, but I think I fell asleep about 8 o'clock. It was probably a couple hours after, ranting and raving and crying, because I was in a lot of pain. And then no energy. Oh, I'm sorry, Anna. I know it's hard. It, it's hard. It's hard. I know. Um, I don't know. All I can say is I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. Last night, I napped, and then I was like, I'm still, drugged out, tired. And I don't even take anything. I didn't even take anything, muscle relaxers, because, when this all happened, see, over time, if you take medication, you can build a tolerance, and after several months, it was just like, I need to, when this all happened, and I finally met a PT person that was like, how are you even breathing with all this, medication? And so then I was like, I'm just going to start taking muscle relaxers as needed, but so I didn't even take anything. But here's my thing. When I walk too much, my joints seem to develop some, more lactic acid, I think, because I have to always, sitting here, I'm like, I need to pat my joints all the time, so I still haven't gotten my genetic test done yet, the results. So, like I said, I thought it was going to take a week. It looked like, that it was going to take only a week, but they asked me this question if I wanted to opt in on X, Y, and Z, another service or whatever. So that made me question something more is being tested, or they found something, questionable that they needed more testing, which is probably another, a bunch of more money. And probably insurance is probably not gonna, pay for, but after dealing with this since 1995, I'm like, I want answers now. And if there's something that people can use this as a tool and see if there's any similarities in genetics, it's worth it. It's money at this point, you know. money is money, you know, when it comes to your health and stuff, you know, it's worth it, you know. Um, so I'm anxious to hear about that, and I'm hoping it's nothing major. I'm hoping it's just, you know, and so anywho, so and you gotta remember, getting on YouTube sucks you dry with energy. They say it's 25% of your energy, but I feel like it's more. It's like a whole day, 24-hour. Uh, but yet again, I did way too much, then too much this morning, which was good. Um, it was just so funny waking up, and poor Baker. He gets picked on all the time. Um, Anywho, if you guys out there that watch me and here locally, if you want to do YouTube with me, I would love to invite you and do a um, just friends and you know gig. I don't know. Let's have you come on here. It's been a while, Anna. If you're, I'm gonna just send you a link tomorrow for tomorrow, and if you can join, if not, no worries at all. Maybe get Jeremy on here as well. We need to. I don't remember if you shared your story on here or not. I know I need to do mine on yours and collab with you. I collabed with Jeremy. Yeah, let's do it. Um, I have something going on next week on Monday, but I can definitely we can probably have me come on your stream next week if yeah, I can do it next week if you and I know Mondays work best for you, so just give me a link. A linky link. Yeah, I think I wanna, also oh, I can do it Sunday actually works better. Yeah, Sunday or Monday, whatever works for you and Mr. James, the hubby. I might have you now I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your channel, but you need to also continue with your like if you're new to FND, keep plugging along with that, and then you need to do you know if you're married to somebody with FND. I think you need to do some more on that as well. Not trying to tell you what to do, but so those are some helpful things that I think I would love to challenge you with. And I think I think you're working on that, and then I kind of spin off on you, a little bit too. So we're doing it together. Anywho, you are very welcome, Anna. And if you've been lurking, I hope you're feeling better. Um, wherever you are, usually this is, I think sometimes this is a little bit too late for you, Yvonne. And then Flash fan, I miss you, bud. If you view this, we need to get Flash fan on here. So, anywho, I'm so tired. I've had a cup of coffee. I've had a nap. I'm gonna do art therapy. I might just chit chat with you guys tonight and then work on this, finish this up, deliver it, get it out of my house. My whole thought process is, you know that I think outside the box, literally, it's a box, So thinking out of the side of the box, candy store. They do sodas too. And what else? They have a little bit of, little snacky food, like sandwiches and stuff, but they're very well known for their candy and sodas. I'm working it. I know I put a lot of time in this painting, but I'm all game for a gift card and to get candy and I know and sodas or whatever. And my whole attempt with this originally was to go to this candy store and paint in person, but unfortunately they did not have any seating, and their only seating was upstairs, which I think they changed things around after they realized that the elderly and I needed a place to sit and doodle this, but it is what it is. It's a little fun little place, smells good. Or a gift card to you can learn how to make their peppermints and candy and stuff. So, and I haven't. They now added another location here locally, so they are expanding, and their second location used to be a shoe store. And that owner has retired and due to the pandemic and stuff, and so I have not been to that location, so I think I'm gonna either deliver it over there or the original location. Um, and I want them to find a nice spot that it gets recognized every day. um, Maybe I should put like light above, but then that would require, um, you know, that is also, another thought, entrepreneur outside the box thought, um, is I do lights and stuff on my shadow box, artwork. And then that reinforces me, oh, it's been, a month. I need to go to the candy store, get my soda, get my candy for the month, and check on the painting. And so it goes a little step beyond, did my painting get sold? Is it still there? Or meeting the, new rightful owners that purchase it eventually. And so, yeah. Another thing, if you have an art piece of mine, please make sure that you get it insured. Make sure your insurance company, I was talking to insurance people, a little bit at this function this morning, this event. So make sure you get that insured, your paintings insured. So make sure your insurance knows, because then if you, because I think where I'm going with that is, it's the summer and fireworks in the 4th of July, and that, having family members having a fire and not only losing there's some of their stuff, but I think I had some stuff of mine stored at their house, and they don't know where that stuff is, and I honestly do not know where my drawing, I had this drawing portrait of me, and then all my nieces and nephews were like not decoupage, but I used essential oils to transfer the prints onto the painting. And I drew color pencil this drawing and had, different colors around me. And well, this paint or this drawing would have won a scholarship to the Art Institute in Chicago, if I had won. But I had gotten sick And so like I was like, whatever. I honestly wanted to go into massage anyways, make more money. Didn't want to, be the starving artist, So I just making it a point that fireworks, 4th of July is dangerous, um, and especially as you can hear the sump pump running in the background. Um, so it's important to have, your insurance um, and all that. So, and if you do have I know people that will do restoration as well. Um, so, anywho, so make sure you get insured somewhere. One of the people there, his name was Brandon, and then I was like, you work with an insurance company. I'm just gonna probably call you Brad. That's, how I'm gonna remember you. Brad from State Farms, that commercial. Um, so what are you wearing, Brad from State Farms? Oh, so make sure you get insured with my artwork, especially if you, doesn't matter where you're at, just make sure, because I've invested a lot of time in artwork, and time, and I think it was time for us to take another nap. You guys all have made it. It's already 5:30. I hope you guys are not dealing with rush hour traffic. And that's the other thing that I kind of like about this town. We don't really, well, there's one stupid street. I call it a stupid street if there's like not really rush hour traffic. Now, I did live major town, I will never go back to a major town. And I grew up even in a bigger town, and that's why I was like, I want to stay here in this town, because there's a lot of potential in this town, and our town has grown like in the past 10 years. Like, I think that first 3 to 5 years, our town is just crazy. And I think it also helps that the state representative, she's highly involved in everything. We've got, 2 mayors that are heavily involved. At the time, even the governor was, had lived here, and, so, and then having 2 hospitals, and now the airport is, open, and then being a college town helps as well. So, but it's been, ever since the pandemic has been fluctuating. So it's a good town. Everybody knows everybody still, even though we've expanded, commercially. Um, and I don't have children, and I definitely haven't had the experience with family members and school like I did, in the other, bigger town that I used to live in or grew up in. So I don't know if, from what I can see, families know families and, still to this day, that, oh, I know. And, I'm the type of person, if I see your child not doing what they're, not doing, with getting in trouble or something, I'd have my 2 cents, and the parents would be a little bit okay with that. So, to some extent, so, but I try to, not really stick my nose in it, but at the same time, it was like, So, but at the same time, like I had all these struggles with like transportation and, you know, feeling trapped and stuff, and that puts me in the crazy mindset, do I need to experience another town? And then, but then I'm like, oh, I'm too old to start over somewhere new. I've already invested 10 years, and a lot of, people in my life are like, why do you need to start over? Why do you need to constantly start over? And so it's hard. It's hard. But we'll get there together. I need a nap. I need to go take a nap. And then I'll take a nap. And then I might just stream again tomorrow. Does that sound like a plan? Because I'm sure after almost 2 hours and listening to me gab about this and that and the other, I don't know. Maybe I need to eat. Get some water, hydrate. I don't know. Decisions. Yeah. Maybe you need a nap. You just got up, but you need another nap. The life of FND. If you know, you know. The best way to describe this is like everything, including the kitchen sink, pure exhaustion on steroids. I was watching the Gaslight Truth podcast. There was a wonderful young lady from France talking about mental health and her experience. Oh no, it wasn't the Gaslight Truth. Scratch that idea. Scratch that idea. It's on Faces of Malpractice. Um, Melissa had a wonderful lady from France or Canada, one or the other, talk about her experience. Because I do think part of me is starting to go into like this denial phase that I don't have FND, but I have protracted withdrawal. I will admit it's very similar. Um, I am another survivor of protracted withdrawal because I had the concussion. I went into mental health. I took the meds. And had, paralysis from the FND, maybe, and then, or stroke, or whatever. And I feel like I fell for the stupid healthcare trap of. Um, so I'm not leaving you guys. I feel like I'm kind of have FND, maybe not, and this has been protracted withdrawal all along, or a combination of both, or all of it, because I don't think people do not understand the dangers of psychiatric medications unless you've gone through it. They also are, is it naive? I think naive. Come on, find your words. Um, this is so. And then when people come out about, very controversial things like what has happened to me, um, where I was forced to ambulate with paralysis on, my dominant left side, very disconnected, in order to be discharged, playing games of, it's cognitive dissonance, it goes above and beyond people's brains, which is and then having a seizure or two seizures because I was forced to ambulate, like dragging me out to a van and then trying to kidnap me, medically kidnap me. because I had the seizure, and it shouldn't have ever happened, and then and then if medication works for you, awesome. you know I'm not saying these are so dangerous that you need to stop. Don't ever stop talking to your doctor if you trust, like, you know if it's working. I feel like people are also seeking a quick fix, and especially today. I was just like, after all I've been through, I see the gray area. I can pick up now on, if you are not living by integrity, if you are not, um, if you're being shady, or you're talking about hacks and quick fixes, and I'm gonna question you. um I'm gonna question it. And your your equipment, you're going by numbers on these new latest models of X, Y, and Z, and you're just being salesy, and it just makes me disgusted. and and you're gonna answer the questions. I think what FND has also taught me is, boundaries, and it's shady. There's a lot of shady stuff out there in the world. A lot of gimmicks to, take advantage of. So that brings me back to watching um, RFJK, whatever his initials are, and they were talking about now they're going to implement long term the cost of healthcare, and making sure that so that's just going to be another thing, because when I was doing medical massage therapy, I worked with a lot of people that financially, had financial issues. It was very, very rare that, I have somebody out there that, here you go, here's the, like $1,000, um, take care of me, alrighty, and a lump sum, before you even start, the whole process. And so and I've seen, a lot of people struggle, financially for care. And so that's going to not not really work in healthcare, especially, I don't know. It's allowing the government to control even more on, so, basically I would have sliding scale, here and there. Um, yeah, I need the boundaries of it costs X, Y, and Z. Um, and and builds boundaries too, that I need to value myself and build those boundaries and stuff like that. So and being able to take care of myself and pay bills and overhead and all that. But life is rough. And I just, so, but it also, helps, okay, upfront costs too, I don't know. I just don't think it's gonna work, especially with healthcare, Medicaid, this big, beautiful, crappy bill. um, that's just gonna pull people more and more and more under, whether you're on, the healthcare side, and it's gonna crash a lot of systems. It's gonna prevent people from, getting necessary care, crucial, care, especially if you have, epilepsy or, or, UTI or whatever, and you go to the hospital, emergency room, or you break a bone or whatever, or you got excruciating pain so bad that you get psychosis um and psychosis so bad that you end your life, or attempt to. um it's going to impact a lot of people with mental health, yeah. Mental health is not, it's still practicing, ways of, Russian roulette, of theories and non-science based. Um, and doing, ECT and all that is like, and I worry about a lot of the schizophrenia, who really, 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 really need, mental health care access. Um, So, I mean, it's changed my world. This FND has just changed my world. I don't know. It's just, and then AI has changed my perspective. I don't know. I need a nap. You're like, gotta take a nap, Sarah. You look just pitiful. Pitiful. Another thing that I will point out that is if you have FND, we need to get out of this mindset that we need to relax. We need to I mean, to a point. Let me take that back. It's to a point. To, find your balance, equilibrium. If it's something's giving you pain, then, okay, stop doing it for a while and, find something else. You have the flexibility. There's many different options. You don't have to do the same thing over and over and over and over. But where was I going with that? Gosh, my brain. Oh, maybe this is menopause coming early. Yeah, I have to consider that, here in the near future. I know some healthcare professionals in my world are like, you'll feel a lot better when you. It's so funny when I started very young. Yeah, slow down, but you don't want to slow down that you lose muscle mass. I've lost all my, because then that also, people don't realize that also impacts your hormones. That also impacts your bone density as you age. You're I'm not saying, push and push and push and push, like when we were younger, oh, you need to find the balance. Think about your future. We need, because it's so hard with that indie, because it's changed our world, our thought process, and, exercising to, and then this whole process of, move it or lose it still comes into play. But sitting around, and relaxing to the point where, you have other health issues that can come into play. You, you, we can't just sit around, Gravity is gonna be a butt monkey um, if you just, relax and protect yourself. Um, and that's why I'm striving to get out in my community, and striving to work again and reminding my neuroplasticity in my brain that you'll be fine. You will be fine, Um, that's FND is just changed my game. Professionally and personally, it's like I've become a genius. But then dumb at the same time. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Because then I'll say all this and then not to be egotistical or, saying that, I don't want to sound like because I don't have very many symptoms right now. I'm not as flared. I'm not as flared as, 2023 when this all happened. But like I'll see people with FND, wiggling, twerking, tremors, spazzing, walking, um, really having issues with seizures, and your story is much different than mine, and I think it would have been a little bit different if I didn't have my career of 20 years in medical massage and kind of know, if I did X, Y, and Z, I can, kind of prevent the X, Y, and Z and one, two, three, and all the, you know, and I think it's where I've been following this psychologist who specializes in teens that have FND. She was talking about parents wanting to protect their children, if they had an episode, which is not really helpful for us with FND and, sleep. And I mean, you still need to do, X, Y, and Z in life. You still have to show accountability. You should, and then retrain your brain, And yes, it takes a little bit longer for us to, remind the brain after it's been severely broken. So that's my thinking on all that, wherever my brain went. um, you know me. Just laugh it off, laugh everything that I say off. But I will say that going back to, I will say back to Faces of Malpractice, go check her, Melissa out. Um, this lady, French lady. Um, I'm not sure if she was from Canada or France. I think France. Um, she looked and sounded Italian. um, go watch that, please. And I always forget to link stuff in the my descriptions. See, you guys got to get after me. You got to get after me. Um, so I will say my story when this all happened, when they were dragging me to the van, and I'm so proud of myself that I can talk about this without crying. And um, it used to trigger seizures and episode. We would drive past this location, like I had to do rehab right across the street from this place. And they would put me on the bike, and I'd instantly see either my car or in their parking lot, and um, see this place, and instantly I was on the floor sliding out of and having a seizure. Um, and having your hair pulled and having to urinate on the floor. What else? Wheelchair, floor, bed. And they would play this game that thinking, because I was able to walk in barely into this facility, it was going to be a matter of, minutes before the stress of returning to this hospital that, caused this stroke. Within 3 days, I had stroke like symptoms, and then having to return to the same hospital and seeing a doctor via Zoom, who was barely communicating with staff. There's a disconnect. The the only way I can describe FND for me is like being bullied, constantly bullying, and then I was SA'd in high school and bullied in high school. And then I also have vaginismus, if I'm saying that correct. And then being told, gaslit that I don't have that. It's worse than the R word. Like, or it's very similar to the R word. And then at what has happened to me, you know? And I do want to cry. Being constantly told that, you know, I would not have time for mental health, you know, during rehab. They don't provide a hand splint, an arm sling when you're worried, you know. Or you go to the bathroom and the assistant yells at everybody, just wait, just wait, she has to go to the bathroom, to all the patients. And then you urinate in your chair. Nobody takes, you know, initiative that she's not faking this. She's not just malingering. There's some serious thing going on, not taking the initiative to be ethical, and let's send her to a facility that would best match her, you know, since she is very complex. We only treat, you know, acute problems. This is unethical to treat somebody with a very complex disorder via Zoom, pulling your hair out, giving you ammonia splashed in your nose, which caused me to now freak out every time. But then you have a nurse that tells you, you know, oh, your enzymes aren't conducive of actual, you know, seizures, you know, epilepsy, electrical seizures. You don't need that. But then yet doing it again because it's protocol, you know, seizure protocol does not work for FND, by the way. And then having, you know, an EMT yank your arm that's already injured due to the lack of, you know, lack of the arm sling for 3 months. Because ignorant, arrogantly thought that was seizure protocol or get me to stop faking a seizure. Okay, I don't know how I can fake this, you know, and then having to prove to the world that you have seizures and you're not faking this, even though it's like you only see my life, you know, in a 2-second clip, or, you know, 3.5 hour video. You're just like the doctors in this, you know, you're only seeing just a minuscule of my life. So it's just, and then, you know, then you try to do Social Security and you try to get an attorney, for disability to help you, as a tool, use them as a tool to help because you've never been on, disability benefits. And for them to decline you as, a client and tell you that you are too complex to take on, that doesn't help. It's one thing after another, and I'm tired of doing it by myself, too. That, or the fact that, you've been paying monthly for rent, and you find a place and you settle, and and you end up talking, trying to resolve a problem, which was an easy problem to fix, and they take it out of, way out of proportion, causing you to have seizures after, not having seizures November, December, January, February, 3 months, give or take. And then having to move because you have seizures. Thank goodness that, the housing authority kicked in, at the right time. And then having to move boxes, and then that causes, post-exertional malaise and seizures. It's a lot. I feel like saying, if you have FND, it takes a village to raise you. I feel like Humpty Dumpty, too, a little bit. So it's just, and I will say this time and time again, the exhaustion with this disorder is just, it's exhausting. Like, it's on steroids. It's fibromyalgia, pain on steroids is what comes to my brain, not quite like what somebody might have, CRPS. I see pictures of people's, limbs with this CRPS stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even compare. And you honestly can't compare to everybody. Everybody's got their own journey. pain, and then, you would think taking muscle relaxers would help, but it just numbs you, and then it just makes the pain worse and worse and worse and worse, increase over time. So I tried to not take the pill unless, I feel like I'm, starting to get mental, because, I've seen what pain can do when you get into that psychosis, point, because you're not sleeping and you're having insomnia, pain insomnia, and then, that can lead into, psychosis and then a mental health crisis. And and so it's just hard. PTSD, I feel honestly like FND is like PTSD on steroids too. And nobody knows anything. Even I laugh at some of these, specialists that think that they know about FND through research, and I would trust somebody who is a specialist that has been through, rounds of FND, the whole shebang, like has seen healthcare, the corruption in healthcare, dealing with it themselves. Like, I would rather see somebody that has dealt with it, not some, person in sales, trying to be shady and, trying to sell snake oil. And, it's just like, yeah. And I struggle and struggle with this. And it doesn't help either, because then that I know and I can see all the gunk, how lack of boundaries or vice versa with, the shady bullshit out in the world. Once you see it, you see it. Like, like you're in constant steroid. FND is like being on steroids. Like, your intuition is on steroids, or your survival is, you're in survival on steroids. So you're like an empath on, your empath intuition is on steroids. So you can see, like, And then I get kind of weird, as people would say, because I sometimes feel like I'm in high school again, and high school, the nightmare of high school never ends. Um, where you have all these cliques and stuff, and I used to be the kid that, would click, you know, but at the same time would struggle because I don't know. It was just it's and then the longer that I'm, not able physically, mentally, emotionally, be socializing, with this disorder and focusing on myself and then, just I don't know. It's hard. I feel like the longer people don't remember me, forget that I exist, I have enough trouble, because the one hospital gave me whatever drug that caused, seizure coding. I thought I was going to die, and you all might think I'm catastrophizing, but that, you know, my journey was my journey, my story. You weren't there, you know. I'm not trying to catastrophize. I'm not trying to have a pity party, telling my story, you know. Either, you've seen me cry, it's just an emotional release, and I just need to spend the time to, reflect, and as hard as it is at that point, or just go take a nap. I was going to take a nap like a half hour ago or 45 minutes ago, somewhere around there. But I just, anywho, yeah, nap sounds good. So, guys, I thank you and appreciate you. Gonna see if there's anybody that comes in. If you haven't taken a moment to, if you would like to help with art supplies, definitely, if you can't afford it, no worries at all. You know what you can do? Subscribe, toggle that notification bell to all, because you know me, I go on the fly. You know me, I just, I don't schedule anymore. I barely know what time it is half the time anymore, and the past couple days, I didn't even know it was. Today was Friday. Yesterday, I don't even know what yesterday was. I slept most of it. Um, and then, and then I was gonna mention one more thing. Psychiatric medication can stay in your system for a long time, for years. You can have protracted withdrawal for years. Trust me, I know. I've been through it. Uh, it can mimic, FND. It can mimic other symptoms. It can mimic other things. And nobody in their right mind should ever be telling you you were faking this, you're malingering. If it's a past thing, you've had surgery. Um, hell, maybe we're born with it. And it just, over time, it gets misdiagnosed and, whether it's in utero or the process of birth, whether the mother or the child, um, has childbirth, and that's where, because I did flip during my mom's pregnancy with me. And then she did indicate that I did get stuck on her pelvis, and there was a question of how long I was, without oxygen on her pelvis. So there's that injury. Then, flipping over my friend's bike and then blacking out on the blacktop. Then, I even questioned, I'm a mosquito magnet. I've had, bites from mosquitoes, bed bugs, um, spider bites. I've been bitten by fire ants. I've had, tick bites. There was a question one time I got bit and had like flu-like symptoms for about a week, and ended up, I was like, oh, my hair, I need to go wash my hair. It's been an ugly week with the flu, and I ended up finding, nice little tick on my head that had been, feasting on whatever blood cells. I didn't think we have a lot up there, but yeah. And he could have been there a week. He could have been there, a few days, because we did have animals that would go outside and wooded yard and would pick up, fleas and ticks and all that. So, and there's probably other incidences with ticks and stuff because, I was always outside and playing and, riding my bike and stuff at the time. So, anywho, then the Adderall, in elementary school, middle school age, we thought that was, the main route, but there's other factors in this. And then I think a lot of the pandemic is another root of this as well. So, and surgery is another factor, and then, protracted withdrawal from, chemical polypharmacy with psychiatric medications is another factor into all this crazy mess. So who knows? But I am here. If you need me, please, please keep in touch. Comment down below if you're watching the relay. And I know a lot of this is hard to watch or listen to. Keep in mind, of your own mental health, and sometimes you're just not ready to hear it, and that is okay. And if I'm too controversial or whatever, it's just not, your cup of tea right now, or, that's okay. Protect your own self. I'm not here to say stop taking your meds, or I'm not here to, it's my journey, more and less, to just document, my life, my journey, and, if you can help me, awesome. If not, then, no worries. And so please share this if you know of anybody that's dealing with FND or disability, or, just needs help and directions and ideas, and, we'll get through it together. So I think it's time for us to take a nap. Enjoy your nap. I will see you tomorrow. I am gonna make it a goal this month to do 31 days of streaming. So we'll make this a goal. I'm gonna try. It's very difficult to be a YouTuber, but with AI doing what they're doing and things going on in this world, I'm gonna try my best to show accountability and agency, and all the magical words, that I'm looking for. You will get better, I promise. Just keep moving forward. And, if I'm gaslighting you a little bit, with what I'm saying, I apologize, and you can, if you can't do something that day, don't be hard on yourself. I know how hard it is. Just take baby steps. Take baby steps. Little by little, life will get better. Just little steps at a time. Don't push yourself so hard, Don't push yourself too hard. And it will get better. It will. 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 All right. Enough of me. Alrighty. Nap time. And I will see you tomorrow. Love you guys. Mwah. Where did that come from? I don't know. Oh, I thought that was a bruise for a minute. I'm like, what? Okay, they're not bruises. They were just me. Ah. Alrighty. Love you guys. You guys take care and see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Where is the button? I'm not paying attention. Alrighty.
Good night, my sleepy loves. See you on the next one. Good night, my sleepy loves. See you on the next one.